Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney and I make videos about Poshmark and selling things online. If you are new to my channel, welcome in. I do hope that you will subscribe if you enjoy learning how to make money online. In this video, we are going to talk about what to sell on Poshmark in 2022. So I've compiled a list of my top 5 best items that you need to be sourcing to sell, not just on Poshmark, but on eBay, Mercari, wherever you may be selling. These are some great items to stock your stores with for the new year. Before we get started, if you are in my Show Up and Source private training group, the first video for 2022 will be posted in the group this evening around the same time that this video is going up. It is about how to get more confident in your sourcing to buy items that are going to sell for you on a daily basis. So if you're in my private training group, make sure you head over and check out that video as well. If you are not in the private group and you would like to be, if you would like to join us, I will put the information for that down in the description box and in the comments. Okay, let's get into the video, what to sell on Poshmark in 2022. The first category that I want to talk about is electronics. This is Poshmark's newest category that they have added. If you don't know, Poshmark used to be just a women's clothing only app. When I first started selling on there 8 years ago, we were only allowed to sell women's clothing. Then they branched into kids clothing, later into men's, and now they have added all sorts of categories in the recent months. But electronics is a very significant category because it shows that they are getting away from clothing, which is super exciting. So I highly encourage you to keep an eye out at your thrift stores for some electronic items. Again, if you are in my Show Up and Source training, we're going to kind of dive deeper into these things and what you can get to kind of start branching into that electronics category, because those are things that you can also list on Mercari and eBay as well. So it is definitely a category that you want to kind of start teaching yourself how to source for. And again, I'm going to be sharing in my Show Up and Source training some items that I am starting to pick up. You know, you don't have to be a major electronics seller to start selling electronics. So don't let any sort of brand new category scare you or anything like that. That is how you grow. You start branching into new categories. The next thing I want to talk about that you need to be selling on Poshmark in 2022 is vintage clothing. People are always on the search for vintage clothing because they really just do not make clothing like they did back in the 80s, the 90s. The quality is so much better. And then people just really overall want that 80s, 90s aesthetic look. So if you are out and you find things that are vintage, even better if they still have tags on them, just make sure they're in really good condition. Make sure, you know, they're not falling apart or anything like that. But vintage clothing is definitely a category that you want to add to your reselling business, not just on Poshmark. You can also sell it on Mercari, eBay, and even Etsy if that is a platform that you sell on. The next item you want to be selling on Poshmark in 2022 is t-shirts. T-shirts are a great item to stock your store with. They are usually very low cost at the thrift store, and people love to bundle t-shirts as well. So, you know, if you can carry a lot of t-shirts and carry a lot of similar sizes, you will sell a lot of bundles of them from what I have seen. So definitely keep an eye out at your thrift store. Like I said, they are usually one of the lowest cost items that a thrift store carries, and they can bring you significant profits if you find the right ones. Again, you can combine that. Keep an eye out for vintage t-shirts, t-shirts with really good graphics on them. If you find a t-shirt with really good graphics on it, the brand maybe doesn't really matter that much. So, you know, don't just go by the brand of the t-shirts. And then usually when I'm going through the t-shirts, I often find things that were maybe mislabeled. I find a lot of Lululemon items in the t-shirts because they just don't know that they're Lululemon. So definitely keep an eye out. I usually find stuff in the t-shirts that's not actually a t-shirt. So just a little thrifting tip there. But definitely pick up t-shirts as you can. You know, if you are limited on capital, that is a great starter item. If you are just starting out, you can start buying t-shirts and build from there. Next item you should be selling on Poshmark in 2022 is handmade items. Now, these can be items that you have made yourself, or they can be items that you find at the thrift store that someone else has made. People love using handmade items in their decor. This is a huge trend happening right now. You'll see it all over TikTok, all over Instagram, but people love handmade items. They love handmade jewelry. I actually started out selling jewelry back in the day. I probably started making jewelry around 9 years ago. So I first started out doing craft shows and things like that, and then I found Poshmark to kind of start putting them online. So if you have an item that you make by hand, definitely put it on Poshmark and the other selling platforms as well. Again, Etsy is also good for handmade items if you are looking to kind of branch out to other platforms in the new year. So just keep that in mind, that you can sell handmade and vintage items on Etsy. Next thing you want to be selling on Poshmark in 2022 are items that you can list multiples of. If you can find something that you can buy multiples of, that you can buy for wholesale or something like that, however you find multiple of one item, that's always good, because you can list one item on that one listing, and then you can actually go into the edit feature on Poshmark and you can add multiple quantities of that item. That way you only have to list the item one time, and that is saving you a ton of time. So if you can just make one listing for that one item and you have multiple of them, and you can just kind of let it ride and you don't have to really do a lot of work after that, that is going to help you tremendously in your business. Keep in mind that we are going into a new year. We are also going into a new season. It is January right now, but people are going to start buying spring things. I feel like every year right after Christmas, people start looking forward to spring break. They start looking forward to prom and formals and things like that. So definitely keep that in mind when you are outsourcing. Those are some other items that you can add into your Poshmark closet and other platforms that you are selling on. But just keep in mind, you know, you always want to be thinking a season ahead. I used to work in retail. I started working retail in high school, and I worked retail all through college. So, you know, we were always a season ahead. Like right now, right after Christmas, when I worked at J. Crew, we would be putting out bathing suits and what they called the resort collection. People love to go vacationing this time of year. So that is a really common question that I get. You know, do you list things all year round? And the answer is yes. Because if somebody is going on vacation to somewhere warm, they're going to need bathing suits. They're going to need, you know, clothing that they might not have in their stores to go get. So whatever you find, definitely start listing it. Start thinking about the warm weather. Start thinking a season ahead. You really have to do that when you work in retail, and start now sourcing items for the rest of the year, really. You know, even if you find Christmas items right now, get those. Start thinking ahead to next Christmas, and people buy Christmas things all year round. So if you are in my private training group, again, we are going to go way deeper into these topics, but I did want to make this video and share with you guys some things that you can be listing right now that are going to start selling consistently for you. If you like this video, definitely give me a thumbs up, and if you learned something or if you have any questions, leave me a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.